friends, today we are building a really fun project. So about 5 years ago, I actually made a metal coat rack. I used aluminum rods and aluminum brazing and made a coat rack, which was really fun to make, was a great technique, and the coat rack has held up just perfectly. The only one problem that we have is the fact that that coat rack has 5 little tiny hooks, and you cannot fit more than 2 jackets on each of those hooks. And with a family of 4 with older kids now, it's overflowing, especially in the winter. It's always chaos. Things are always falling down. There's just not enough space on that coat rack. So we need something bigger for sure. And to do that, I want to make a piano coat rack. Piano coat racks have been very popular of late, and they've really always been very fun to me, and I've always wanted to try building my own. And so today I'm going to build my version of a piano coat rack. I actually have a little mock-up right here, which will be linked in the description below, so you can use that as a template. My goal is to build it using the simplest tools and techniques, make it really easy. I am going to be using a miter saw and a power drill for the most part, but we'll see how that goes. That's the goal. But before we get started, if you are new here, I am Anika, and I am here to demystify DIY and inspire and empower you to build all of the things. I have a ton of resources, tutorials, projects, and courses to help you on your DIY journey. I have a bunch of links in the description, so be sure to check that out. And now, let's get building. So first up, I'm cutting down the 2x2s on the miter saw for the stationary pieces, and these are just a whole bunch of random lengths. For the hook pieces, we have 6 pieces, each at 2 different lengths. So I set up a stop block and made all of those cuts. A quick note over here, anytime you are using a stop block, you want to make sure that the blade comes to a full stop before you lift it up, because if you don't do that, it's going to send that piece flying, and that can be very dangerous. Next, we need to make 45-degree cuts on both ends of our hook. So I'm setting up a stop block, and you're about to see what happens if you don't clamp your stop block tightly. That was scary, to say the least, and please do clamp the stop block tightly. Okay, so once the cut is made, we're going to save that little triangular piece and use that to clamp the other end to the fence of the miter saw. Because these pieces are really small, you want to make sure that your hands stay away from the blade. And also the clamp needs to be out of the way of the blade. So once everything is set up and clamped tightly, we can go ahead and make the cut. But later on, as I was building the rack, I had to cut some replacement pieces, and I realized that it was a lot easier to cut off the 6-inch and 11-inch hook pieces at the 45-degree angle directly off of the long board instead of cutting them small and then cutting the angles. Okay, so here are all of our hooks. However, these edges here are really sharp, so we definitely want to make them blunt for hanging things on it. So to do that, I am just going to cut off about 1/4 inch over here, so we can do that, and then we'll sand it smooth so that there aren't really any sharp edges. And so once again, I set up a stop block and cut off the 1/4 inch from the end of each of the hooks. Also, we are going to be using 3/8-inch dowels for the mechanism of the coat rack, and all of the pieces of the dowel are cut at 3 inches long. So I set up a stop block and made all of those cuts. The bottom of the hooks are going to have the holes for the dowels, so I measured 1.5 inches from the bottom and 3/4 inch from the side and marked that location. So my goal is to always use the simplest possible tools for a project so that it is as accessible as possible. And in this case, I was hoping to only use the miter saw and a power drill and make the entire project. However, I did a few trials for making the holes for the dowels, and unfortunately, no matter how hard I try, I am not able to get a hole that is straight through. And you can see right here the dowel is slightly tilted, so the hole is not straight through. And I tried my best. I used a brad point drill bit. I tried my best to keep it straight, and I actually did a bunch of tries, and it's just not working. So I will have to go to a drill press. I do have a drill press. I'm going to use the drill press. You could also get one of those contraptions that hold the drill, so kind of like a small drill press where the drill goes into it so you can make straight holes. Essentially, it is key to make the straight holes. So in my case, I'm just going to go ahead and do this on the drill press. So not sure if you can tell in the camera, but this is the one that I used with my hand with the drill, and it's sort of tilted downwards this way, so you can see that. And then this is the one with the drill press, and it goes nice straight across. The advantage of a drill press with a drill press table is that now I can actually set up a stop block, so I don't have to measure the location of the hole every single time. But no matter what you're using, a drill press, a drill guide, whatever, I highly recommend using a brad point drill bit to make the holes. So I made holes on the bottom of all of the hooks. And now it's time for sanding. I'm using Select Pine, so the boards are already in pretty great shape, so I'm just going to sand them with 150 grit and 220 grit. I did go over all of the edges really quick to soften them up. You do want to be careful with it and not overdo it because you don't want to mess the shape up, but we're just softening all of the edges and sanding up all of the surfaces. It is a lot of pieces, and a little bit of music helps the sanding go faster. Now it's time to lay out all of our pieces into what the coat rack is eventually going to look like. I did play around with the pieces on SketchUp and create a template, so I had an idea of what I was going for. You want to make sure that there is enough space for your fingers to go in and open the hooks, and I will include a link to the template that I used in the description below. Once I have the layout finalized, I can mark the location for the holes in the stationary pieces. To do this, I am marking 1.5 inches from the bottom of the hook pieces. And then I'm extending that onto both sides to the stationary boards. It is very important to make all of these lines and measurements precisely because this decides if all of our hooks are going to work or not. And now I can extend that measurement onto the inside of the board, and this is where we're going to make the hole in the center of the board. Now I am using my drill press such that the hole is 3/4 inch into the board and 3/4 inch deep, but if you are using a drill guide, be sure to use masking tape on your drill to mark exactly how deep you will be going. It is important that the holes be 3/4 inch deep. Now let's test it out. I added the dowels through the hook pieces and into the stationary pieces. Things can be a little bit tight, so a mallet definitely helps. And once everything is sitting nice and tight, the hook action works. So now that the concept works, I'm gonna go ahead and repeat the entire process all over again for all 6 sets of the hooks. And there it is. The coat rack is coming together, and you can already see what it's going to look like when it's done. And this part is super satisfying. And now I'm just gonna take it all apart because we need to get ready to stain. Of course, before we can stain, I need to sand down all of my pencil marks. And on second thoughts, I should have probably waited to sand everything right now rather than sanding it all earlier. Now, as I am taking these apart, I realized that I need to make sure I know how to track them because mixing them up is not an option because it's really critical where they are so all the holes line up. So I originally was thinking about using masking tape and adding little tape pieces to every single thing, but I think that's just going to become messy, especially when I start staining them. So looking at it a little bit, I realized that the part of this that is never ever visible is right next to the holes. So I am going to write next to the holes with a pencil, as tiny as I can, but still keep it legible. I will just go with like 1, 2, top, bottom, things like that. So let's do that. So that's what I did. I took each of them apart, sanded off the pencil marks, and then wrote in really tiny letters near the hole, 1 top, bottom, 1 top right, 1 top left, and so on. And now I can just wipe off all of the sawdust and get ready to stain. I am using 4 different shades of stains, ranging from light to really dark. And of course, this is totally up to you. You can also paint some of these pieces if you like. I have to confess, I did briefly consider painting some of them gold, but then I decided to skip that. To be honest, I wasn't really going for a pattern. In fact, I wanted it to be completely random. So I just kind of stained the boards in different colors as I went along, depending on the color that I thought would work and which wasn't right next to it. I do want to, however, point out a lesson that I learned, which is to not stain on top of your other boards, because sometimes there are drips and that can mess up your stain. Thankfully, it was just a couple of boards, which were the stationary boards that could be turned over. Once the stain was dry, I applied a couple coats of top coat to all sides of all of the pieces. I actually used those triangle cutoffs from when we cut off the hooks to support the boards as they were drying. A couple days later, when everything is cured and dry, it is time to assemble the coat rack. And now I need to turn the coat rack over so that I can add the French cleat and the braces at the back. So to do this, I flipped each set of hooks over and moved them from the right to the left, essentially creating a mirror image. Now on the back, one of the things that I'm adding is a French cleat to hang my coat rack to the wall. This will act as a brace, but we do need another board to act as a brace to hold up all of our boards together. I made sure that the French cleat was perfectly perpendicular to all of the 2x2 boards and attached them to all the stationary boards using 2-inch long countersunk screws. Now there's 2 important things to remember. Number 1, you want to attach to all of the stationary boards. And number 2, you only want to attach to the stationary boards because you want the hooks to work. I added another strip of plywood on the bottom because the French cleat was not long enough to attach to some of these stationary boards, and I really wanted all of the boards to be well attached so it's nice and strong. And that is the coat rack. And now I can go ahead and remove that old small metal coat rack that I had built, which served its purpose, and hang up the French cleat and put up the coat rack on the wall. I love the fact that it looks like wall art, but it is also super functional. And I really truly hope that this is enough space for all of our coats and bags. I hope you enjoyed this project as much as I had fun building it, and I do have a whole bunch of new projects and tutorials coming your way soon, so be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you next time.